Chapter 2 The Breath of Water. The mist clung to Mount Sagiri, like a shroud, obscuring the steep path before Tanjiro. His legs burned with exhaustion, but he pressed on, Nezuko's sleeping form a comforting weight on his back. The bamboo muzzle Gyu had given him felt like a constant reminder of the precarious nature of their situation. As he climbed, Tanjiro's keen nose picked up a new scent: old paper, ink, and something akin to stagnant water. Suddenly, a gruff voice cut through the mist. "Turn back, boy. This mountain has no place for the weak." Tanjiro squinted, making out the silhouette of an old man wearing a Tengu mask. "Are you Urokodaki Sakonji?" he called out. The figure didn't move. "What if I am?" Tanjiro bowed deeply, careful not to disturb Nezuko. "Please, sir, I need your help. I want to become a demon slayer." Urokodaki's masked face betrayed no emotion, but his voice carried a note of curiosity. "And the demon on your back?" "My sister," Tanjiro replied, his voice thick with emotion. "She was turned, but she hasn't hurt anyone. I want to turn her back into a human." A long moment of silence followed. Then, Urokodaki turned. "Follow me, if you can keep up." What followed was the most grueling physical challenge of Tanjiro's young life. Urokodaki moved with impossible speed through the misty forest, leaving Tanjiro struggling to follow. His lungs burned, his muscles screamed, but he refused to give up. Hours later, they arrived at a small house nestled in the mountains. Urokodaki finally stopped, turning to face Tanjiro, who was drenched in sweat and gasping for air. "You didn't give up," Urokodaki noted. "That's a start, but it takes more than determination to become a demon slayer." Tanjiro nodded, still catching his breath. "I'll do whatever it takes." Urokodaki gestured to a nearby stream. "Fetch water. We'll need it for your sister." As Tanjiro moved to obey, Urokodaki added, "Your training begins at dawn. Be prepared." The next morning, Tanjiro awoke before the sun, his body aching from the previous day's exertion. Urokodaki was already outside, standing as still as a statue. "Your first task," the old master said, without turning, "is to reach the top of that waterfall by sunset." He pointed to a distant cascade, its top obscured by mist. Tanjiro's eyes widened. The waterfall seemed impossibly high, but he squared his shoulders and set off without complaint. The climb was treacherous. Slippery rocks, hidden crevices, and the constant spray of water made every step a challenge. More than once, Tanjiro lost his footing and slid back down, forced to start again. As the sun began to set, Tanjiro's fingers finally grasped the top of the waterfall. He hauled himself up, body trembling with exhaustion. To his surprise, Urokodaki was there waiting. "You're late," the master said, "but you made it. Tomorrow, you'll do it again, faster." Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Each day brought new challenges: splitting massive boulders, navigating treacherous mountain paths, blindfolded, and endless physical conditioning. Urokodaki was a harsh taskmaster, but Tanjiro never complained. Every bruise, every ache, brought him one step closer to his goal. Throughout it all, Nezuko slept in the box Urokodaki had crafted for her. Tanjiro spent every free moment by her side, talking to her, hoping that somehow, she could hear him. "I'm getting stronger, Nezuko," he would say. "Soon, I'll be able to protect you, and we'll find a way to turn you back. I promise." The most crucial part of his training, however, was learning to master total concentration breathing. "Breathe from your gut," Urokodaki instructed. "Feel the air fill your entire body. Let it empower you, strengthen you." Tanjiro practiced relentlessly, even as he carried out his other tasks. Slowly, he began to feel a change. His movements became smoother, His stamina increased, and he could sense the world around him with greater clarity. One day, as Tanjiro was practicing his breathing by the stream, Urokodaki approached him. "You've improved," the master said, "but mere breathing isn't enough. You must learn to harness it, to channel it into your blade." He handed Tanjiro a wooden sword. "The breath of water is the foundation of my teachings. It flows, adapts, and overwhelms. Watch closely." Urokodaki moved, and suddenly the air around him seemed to shimmer. His wooden sword traced graceful arcs through the air, each movement flowing seamlessly into the next. Water seemed to trail from the blade, though Tanjiro knew it was just an illusion. "This is the first form," Urokodaki explained. "Water surface slash. Now, you try." Tanjiro's first attempts were clumsy, his movements stiff and unnatural, but as days passed, he began to feel the rhythm, to understand the flow of the technique. One evening, as Tanjiro sat by Nezuko's box, Urokodaki approached him. "You've made progress," Urokodaki said, his voice softer than usual, "but the path ahead is fraught with danger. Are you prepared to risk everything?" Tanjiro looked up, his eyes burning with determination. "I made a promise," he said, "to protect Nezuko, and to make sure no one else suffers like we have. I'll do whatever it takes." Urokodaki nodded. "Then it's time for your final test. You must survive on Mount Fujikasan for 7 days. If you return alive, I will recommend you for the final selection, to become a demon slayer." As Tanjiro prepared to leave, Urokodaki handed him a white mask. "This will help you breathe in the thin mountain air. Remember your training, and trust in the breathing of water." Tanjiro took the mask, bowing deeply. "Thank you for everything, Master Urokodaki." As he set off towards Mount Fujikasan, Tanjiro's heart raced with a mixture of fear and excitement. The real test was about to begin, and he knew that failure wasn't an option. For Nezuko, for his family, and for all those who might fall victim to demons, he had to succeed. The mountain loomed before him, its peak shrouded in mist. Tanjiro took a deep breath, centering himself as Urokodaki had taught him. Then, with one last glance back at the house, where Nezuko slept, he began to climb. The first day passed without incident. Though the terrain was treacherous and the air thin, Tanjiro set up camp as night fell, his senses alert for any sign of danger. It was on the second night that he encountered his first demon. The creature burst from the shadows, all claws and fangs. Tanjiro barely had time to dodge, his wooden sword coming up in a defensive stance. "A human?" The demon growled, its eyes glowing with hunger. "How delightful! It's been so long since I've tasted fresh meat." Tanjiro's mind raced. This wasn't like his training. This was real, with real stakes. He took a deep breath, feeling the air fill his lungs, empowering him. As the demon lunged again, Tanjiro moved. Water surface slash, the first form Urokodaki had taught him. His sword traced an arc through the air, and for a moment, he could almost see the water trailing from its tip. The demon howled as the wooden blade struck, more from surprise than pain. It stumbled back, its eyes wide with shock. "What are you?" it snarled. Tanjiro didn't answer. He pressed his advantage, moving through the forms Urokodaki had drilled into him. Water wheel, striking tide. Each movement flowed into the next, keeping the demon off balance. But wood couldn't kill a demon. As the fight dragged on, Tanjiro felt his stamina flagging. He needed to end this, and soon. In a desperate gambit, he feinted with his sword, then ducked low, sweeping the demon's legs out from under it. As the creature fell, Tanjiro grabbed a nearby rock and brought it down, with all his might on the demon's head. The demon went still, then began to disintegrate into ash. Tanjiro collapsed to his knees, his body trembling with adrenaline and exhaustion. He had done it. He had defeated his first demon, but this was only the beginning. 6 more days stretched ahead of him, each likely to bring new challenges and dangers. As he caught his breath, Tanjiro's thoughts turned to Nezuko, to his family, to all those who had suffered at the hands of demons. He clenched his fist, determination burning in his eyes. "I will become stronger," he vowed to the night air, "strong enough to protect everyone. This is just the first step." With renewed resolve, Tanjiro stood, ready to face whatever the mountain might throw at him next. The path of the demon slayer stretched out before him, steep and treacherous, but Tanjiro Kamado was ready to take the next step, no matter where it might lead. Little did he know that this test would push him to his very limits, forcing him to confront not just the demons that lurked in the mountains, but the doubts and fears that lingered in his own heart. The real journey was only just beginning.